Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of The Studio. My name is Adam, and it's time for yet another highly requested mallet review. It is the Eric Sammut series from Malletech. Thank you so much to my studio VIPs, Artifact Percussion, Zero Gravity Percussion, Rob Utomo, Will Flinner, Mallet Lab, Bradley Crowley, John K. Holter, Matt Olsavsky, and Ryan Carlisle. Thank you so much for joining the studio VIP team. And today's featured studio artist is saxophonic marimbist. Thank you so much for joining the studio artist team. And if you'd like to become a studio VIP or studio artist, you can go to patreon.com/AdamTan, or you can click over here. Welcome back to the show. I hope you've been well, and it's time for yet another Malletech review. As you guys remember, Malletech sent me a whole bunch of mallets, including the Lee Howard Stevens series, which we reviewed 2 episodes ago, and now we're looking at the Eric Sammut series. But full disclosure, once again, yes, Malletech did send me these mallets, but this review is not sponsored. I'm not getting paid by Malletech to say nice things about their mallets. I just like looking at mallets. Eric Sammut is one of the most well-known marimbists in the world right now. He is, of course, one of the most prolific marimba composers. He's also a professor at many places, including the Royal Academy, and he's also the principal percussionist of the Orchestra de Paris. I'm sure a lot of you guys know Eric Sammut from his music, for example, his arrangement of Libertango, his variations on Porgy and Bess, and of course, his 4 rotations. So Eric is really well known, and his mallets are also very well known. I've seen these mallets all the time, not just because they are super bright orange, but also because they're very unique mallets. Not only are they very small-headed mallets, they're also multi-tonal, and they're also heavy. This is a combination that you don't really see very often. So let's start off with the model lineup. So when I reviewed the Stevens, I mentioned briefly about Malletech's numbering system. So if you're not aware already, the number 0 in Malletech's lineup is the softest, and the number 50 in Malletech's lineup is the hardest. So as a result, in Malletech model lineups, the numbers are very exact because they want to give a very good representation of the hardness. So instead of having like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, the Sammut series has 8, 12, and 16. Now, similar to the Stevens series, even though the ES8, the ES12, and the ES16 are all multi-tonal mallets, they all have their own hardness ranges within those multi-tones. So the ES8 is a softer multi-tonal mallet. I don't have this mallet, but basically it's like a soft to about a medium soft. And then we have the ES12. Now, they say the ES12 goes from soft to medium hard. I'm more inclined to believe it's more of a medium soft to a medium hard, but it covers basically the middle range of hardnesses. And finally, the ES16, which I would say is like a strong medium all the way up to a hard to almost very hard. So theoretically speaking, you could cover 7 monotonal models worth of hardnesses in just these 3 models. Now, in typical Malletech style, these mallets only come in birch. There's no rattan option, so if you're looking for rattan, it's not here. And finally, the price of these mallets is $36.95 a pair. So it's very, very reasonable. Once again, it's in like the lower end of the serious marimba mallets when it comes to price. So a very affordable option for most people. Now let's move on to the build quality and design. Now the first thing you notice about these mallets is of course that very distinctive orange high-vis color. It is just so bright, unlike any other mallet series that I've ever seen. I don't think I've ever seen any orange mallets, so you're definitely getting a mallet series that stands out. Another unusual thing about these mallets is that all of the models look like this. They all have a very small head, and they all have a very, very tight yarn. Like, it's so tight that even if I try really hard to separate the yarn or like wear it out, it's not going anywhere. It definitely passes the studio squeeze test because there's literally nothing to squeeze.
Excuse me?
It's literally just a rock. And therefore these mallets are like the opposite of the Stevens. The Stevens had a really loose yarn, and as a result the mallet wear thing is quite serious. But with the Sammuts, it's literally almost indestructible. Now, as you go down towards the shaft, you will notice the text, once again, is quite clearly printed. It's not engraved, but it is very clear. So it's not like you're gonna mistake this mallet for any other manufacturer. However, all of the text colors are the same. Unlike the Stevens series where they put different colors for different models, these are all black text. So to figure out which model is which is difficult because they look very similar, you're literally gonna have to look for that little number that says 8, 12, or 16. So maybe you're gonna have to use stickers or something to mark them out. And then we get to the shaft. Now, if you feel the shaft, you will notice that it has that same sandy finish that all Malletech birch mallets have. Now, again, I've already said this before, I'm not really a fan of this sandy finish because, I don't know, even if you can see that, some of the sand is already coming off the shaft as I brush it into the light. And if I was to use these mallets seriously, I would just put tape on it and there would be no problems at all. But if you do like having no tape, but you don't like having that sandy feel, then you probably should look elsewhere. But I do know a lot of people really like having that sandy grip because that texture helps them hold the mallet better without any tape, so each to their own. And then towards the bottom, it is kind of a case of smooth ends make friends, I think. Even though the end is technically smooth on some of my mallets, there's actually some little holes popping out here and there, so I don't know whether that's like a quality control thing, but yeah, it's not a deal breaker, but it is a bit of a concern. But overall, the build quality of these mallets is quite good, especially the heads. Once again, I do not think they are going to break because they are just orange rocks. Next up, we get to the ergonomics. Now, if you look at Malletech's description of these mallets, they will say that they are unusually heavy, and they would be right. It does make an interesting case though. Maybe you need more space between your mallets when you're doing really fast runs, and these small heads will help facilitate that, but you won't lose any of the weight. You can also get quite a decent soft to medium soft full sound in the lower registers with this sort of weight, so it has its versatility. So if you're looking for a mallet series that is small headed and 50-50, do not be deceived by the fact that this has a small head because it's definitely heavy. I also found out that when you're first using these mallets, the multi-tonal aspect will surprise you because it doesn't take that much pressure. For example, in the ES16, I only had to give it just a little bit of, say, mezzo forte pressure, and it was already hitting me with that very hard hardness. So it does take some getting used to. So I would say that this is not the easiest multi-tonal mallet to use or to maneuver because it's very hard to control the tones if you're not familiar with it, but if you did spend some time on it and you just experimented for a while, I'm sure you could get the hang of it. And finally, we get to the sound test. Now, I decided to play in today's sound test, in addition to the normal tests, I wanted to play a snippet of my brand new 4 1/3 octave solo that's coming out very, very soon. So if you like the video that you're watching so far, please give me a thumbs up, I would really appreciate it. Here is the sound test. Thank you so much for listening to the sound test. Let me know what you thought of the mallets down below. Let me know what you thought of my snippet of my new piece if you'd like. I'd love to hear from you. So overall, these mallets actually sound objectively quite good. Like, they are small-headed, but they don't have that sort of dotty attack sound that a lot of small-headed mallets have. They seem to have quite a reasonably round sound despite their size. They don't have any contact noise. It's pretty good. But if you're not familiar with the multi-tonal breaking point, like where it switches from soft to hard, then it might be a little bit unwieldy to use. But if you are used to it, if you have practiced with it for a while, you can get some really great results. So overall, although this marimba mallet could be used by anyone, I would probably recommend it more for like advanced players who have some time to try and experiment with these mallets. But in saying that, the price is very reasonable, the build quality is very good, so you can't really go wrong. Thank you so much for watching today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. I would really appreciate it. And please leave in the comments down below any suggestions you have for future episodes or anything else you'd like to see on the show. And finally, if you haven't already, please hit that red subscribe button below to keep up with my uploads. As I'm saying this subscriber thing right now, the giveaway is still happening. So if you haven't already entered the 10,000 subscriber giveaway, please watch my previous video. It's available right now until 1st of October 2018. So get in your entries ASAP. Thank you so much for watching today's video, and I'll see you guys next week for another episode of The Studio. Good night.